This is the DJI Osmo Action 4, a small action video camera that replaced my other cameras for vlogging. I've been using it extensively this past few months, and even though there are newer action cameras like the GoPro Hero 13 or even the DJI Action 5 Pro, I still think this camera is the best. What makes it my best vlogging camera? Find out more in this video while I head outside and record the entire video using the Osmo Action 4. So, this video will be recorded using the DJI Osmo Action 4, and this is not going to be a full-blown review of the camera because there are already plenty of reviews out there on the internet and YouTube. You can just watch them if you want to know more about the technical specification of this camera. I'm just going to talk from my user experience and usage scenario so that you can learn better whether this is the right camera for you or not. But just a quick introduction, I wanna let you know what the DJI Osmo Action 4 is. The DJI Osmo Action 4 is a small video action camera, and it has a large 1/1.3 inch sensor. As with the usual action camera, it will have very wide field of view, and also sometimes it can get a little bit like a fisheye effect, but you can set it to linear, which is what I'm using right now. The camera is very rugged, it is weatherproof, it is definitely waterproof as well. You can submerge it into the water. As with action cam in general, it doesn't have mechanical stabilization. There's no OIS, there's no in-body stabilizer. However, the camera has digital stabilization, and as you can see right now, it's quite steady, especially with good lighting condition. One thing to note is that the DJI Osmo Action 4 is not exactly a new camera. It was released last year, so it's 1 year old. However, if you are a follower of my channel, you might already know that most of my cameras are old cameras. So this camera is not so old in my opinion, and I'm okay with that. Now let's talk a little bit about why I bought the DJI Osmo Action 4 and also my use case scenario. So originally I bought this camera to replace my dying Insta360 Go2 little action camera right here. So the Go2 is a small action video camera similar to the Osmo Action 4, but this is very small, just slightly larger than my thumb, so it's very convenient for POV video, for like underwater video. You can just stick it anywhere and record some B-roll footage. It died, so I need to replace it. Anyway, the most sensible thing to do actually is to replace the Go2 with its newer version, which is the Insta360 Go3. And I almost did that. I thought that was a logical step, replace it with its newer version. However, I paused a little bit and I thought to myself, I want something a little bit different. I want to try something else, what is out there, and I want to experiment a little bit. If you are a follower of my channel, you might already know I have another camera that I really love, that is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, this guy right here. And I thought to myself, hey, why don't we just find a camera that sits right in between the Go2 and the Pocket 3 in one single device. And that's where the idea to purchase the DJI Osmo Action 4 comes from. So yeah, this guy is like the hybrid version of the small action camera, the Insta360 Go2, and also the larger DJI Osmo Pocket 3. So everything sits right in the middle. It's like both of these cameras are married together and have a child. Anyway, I was right. Being able to consolidate both the Go2 and the Pocket 3 into one single device, the DJI Osmo Action 4 creates a really nice, streamlined, simplified workflow for me to create videos, especially for my YouTube channel. My main use case scenario with the DJI Osmo Action 4 is as my main vlogging camera when I'm out and about. Not in the studio, but outside in the real world like what I'm doing right now. It does a really great job, especially with that secondary front-facing screen. It really helps a lot, especially to frame myself, to change settings, and just to make sure that I'm in frame and I know what the camera's pointed at. Next use case scenario, and this is quite an important one, is for POV photography vlog. So in my channel, I do lots of video where I'm showing you how I take pictures. I'm out and about in a location, holding my camera and lens from a POV perspective, and then I will tell you what happens behind the scene, how I come up with the composition, the lens setting, the camera setting, the aperture, shutter speed, ISO, all that kind of stuff. You want to check out that videos, the vlogs up there somewhere. I will put the card. But yeah, for this kind of use case scenario, you can see my camera, you can see my hand, you can see me operating all the buttons and dials, and I think the Osmo Action 4 is great for that. And next use case scenario is for a little bit of B-roll recording. So if I want to get an establishing shot, if I'm in a location, I want a wide angle kind of B-roll, or if I want to record a B-roll of myself doing something, then I will use the DJI Osmo Action 4. So yeah, those are all my use case scenario for the DJI Osmo Action 4. I'm not using this guy for photography, not yet. Maybe in the future, I'm not quite sure. It's not a photography camera. I'm using it more for video. However, one thing that I really want to try is for POV street photography vlogs. So previously, I used my Go-To for that, and also my Pocket 3 for that a little bit as well. So yeah, I'm curious how the Action 4 will perform for POV street photography. Now I want to talk a little bit about things that I really love from the DJI Osmo Action 4. And right away, first thing that I really like from this camera is the stabilization. Alright, it doesn't have in-body stabilizer, it doesn't have optical stabilizer, it doesn't have gimbal, it only has like a digital stabilization using software inside the camera. However, that software stabilization is really good in my opinion. It's just rock solid and steady. As you can see right now, I'm walking around and it's able to keep me relatively stable and also smooth, so it's not really jarring to see when I'm walking around too much. So I really like that, and it's also simple. There's no extra parts being involved like the gimbal on the Pocket 3. There's no things that you have to work around, or you have to be very careful not to damage it, things like that, and it's just so satisfying to use. Next thing that I love is that the Action 4 is very compact, but it's also rugged, waterproof, and strong and durable. So I dropped this camera once to the ground from about 1 meter height, and it's like nothing happened. There's no dent, there's no scratch, the camera just works perfectly. I cannot say the same thing about my other camera. For example, my Pocket 3, it has that built-in gimbal, makes everything looks very nice and stable and steady. However, it is also the weakest point, mechanically speaking, of the camera. If I drop the Pocket 3 to the ground, maybe it will break, maybe the gimbal will be broken. Also with my other mirrorless camera, like my Panasonic Lumix cameras, if I dropped it to the ground, there will be dent, maybe the screen will be broken or the lens will be broken, and that is catastrophic for me. Next thing that I love from the Action 4 is the image quality. Okay, if you compare this camera to my dedicated mirrorless camera like the Panasonic Lumix G85 or even to my Osmo Pocket 3, yes, the image quality might not be as great as those cameras. But if you compare it to my Insta360 Go-To, this is a significant step in terms of image quality. So it stays right in between right there. And in my opinion, it's more than enough for its use case scenario. I'm not using this guy for like studio works. I'm not using it to record talking head video in my studio in a perfect lighting condition, that kind of stuff. I'm using this again for vlogging, for POV footage, for B-roll, that kind of stuff. And it's more than good enough. Everything is sharp, as you can see right now. The dynamic range is really good in my opinion, and the colors also look nice. Next thing that I really love from the Osmo Action 4 is the ability to connect the DJI wireless mic 2 into the Osmo Action 4 directly without having to use any workarounds or hacks into the camera. The DJI mic 2 is a really nice microphone that can really improve the sound quality of my vlogs, and I'm all really into that. I don't want to use a shotgun microphone attached to the top of the Osmo Action 4 because that will make the camera look big and not inconspicuous anymore. So for vlogging, it's gonna make me more self-conscious and not as confident. So yeah, I prefer to keep the whole package small and streamlined using something like the DJI Mic 2. And as you can hear, the sound quality, I hope it's so much better than just using the onboard microphone of the camera. Next thing that I love from this camera is the magnetic attachment system.
it works really well. It's very convenient and very secure as well. So I can quickly switch between using a tripod like what I'm doing right now for talking head video, to attach the Osmo Action 4 to my POV vlogging rig using a telesin clamp for my backpack or for my sling bag. This is the guy. I will show you some b-roll of demonstration of how I switch between the mini tripod for vlogging to the clamp for the POV vlog. And as you can see, it's just so easy, so quick, and it's just very secure and reliable. Anyway, I just want to emphasize what I really like from the Osmo Action 4 and also from the functions of the Osmo Action 4. This camera for me provides the nice balance between size, weight, performance, image quality between my larger camera and my smaller camera. It just sits right in the middle. And for my use case scenarios, as I mentioned, with all the things that I like from it, I think the Osmo Action 4 has done a really good job, and I just enjoy using this camera for those functions. However, even though the Osmo Action 4 does its job perfectly for what I ask it to do, there are still some things, some imperfection that I want to mention, some things that I don't really like. First, let's begin with the focus. Well, this is an action cam and I'm fully aware of it. Everything will be in focus. There's not gonna be any like background blur like my mirrorless camera or the DJI Pocket 3. It's not gonna do that. But one thing about the focus that I noticed is that yes, it can focus everything, but you cannot get too close. Like the minimum focusing distance, I think, is about 40 centimeters, like about this distance between my face and the camera. If I go closer, then you can start to see that my face is not going to be in focus anymore. And also it's going to look weird and distorted and that kind of stuff. And I don't want that. But yeah, I just have to be careful not to put things too close into the camera. Next thing that I don't like from this camera is the low light stabilization. Well, yes, I already mentioned that the stabilization uses digital stabilization system. It's using software inside the camera to stabilize the video footage. And it works well in good lighting condition, like where I am right now. I can just walk freely and it's not going to shake or give any kind of artifacts or motion blur, that kind of stuff. However, the stabilization system requires high shutter speed, and in lower light situation you cannot always get high shutter speed. And even if you can use higher shutter speed, sometimes you hit the limit of the ISO and you start to get dark pictures, or maybe it starts to look very grainy and noisy, and that's a problem. So yeah, I'm not really complaining because I'm not really shooting in low light condition that often, but it's still something to keep in mind. Now, some of you might be asking, hey Gary, why don't you just use a newer action camera instead of the Osmo Action 4? Well, yes, by the time this video is released, there should be already two new action cameras, the GoPro Hero 13 and also the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. So with the Osmo Action 5 Pro, yes, it's a better camera in every way. However, this one just works and it's already released, and I have a good price on this camera. And I don't need the latest and the greatest. I don't need all the upgrades. I'm just happy with the Action 4, and it's been tried and tested. The GoPro Hero 13 might provide better resolution, some features that are not available on the Action 4. However, the Action 4 has been used by so many people for more than 1 year, and it's been tried and tested, and it's been proved to be more reliable compared to GoPro. The previous GoPro cameras, the GoPro Hero 12, some people say that it's freezing when recording and you get corrupted file, that kind of stuff. I cannot let that kind of thing happen to my workflow, and the Action 4 doesn't have similar issue, so I'm quite happy to just use the Action 4 instead. Bottom line is, you don't always need the greatest, you don't always need the latest. You should just use whatever you already have. Don't get tempted by the marketing, by the ads. You should just use whatever works well for you, and I think you should maximize that tool to its fullest potential. That's always been the philosophy of my channel. And yeah, this video is also not about creating gear acquisition syndrome or making you buy stuffs. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to share my own personal experience, and hopefully this has been helpful. And if you're in the market for a new action camera, maybe for vlogging or for POV like what I'm doing, I think the Osmo Action 4 is a good alternative. But search the internet, make more research, take some notes, go to YouTube, watch some videos. I think you will also find some other things that probably could work better for you as well. And that wraps up today's video. So that is all for my experience and thoughts and just observation of the Osmo Action 4. Hopefully this has been informative and inspiring and helpful as well. Please let me know in the comment down below, what is your favorite video camera for out and about when you just want to have something simple to record video. Also, if you have any question, please comment down below as well. I will try my best to answer them. Also, don't forget to support my channel by liking this video, sharing this video, subscribing to my channel down below. If you want to support my channel even further, consider using the affiliate links on the description or use the super thanks button to make a small donation to my channel. Thank you, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.